I opened the door and saw her standing there, smiling politely, clutching a small bag. "Alina?" My parents' glowing faces mirrored mine or tried to. "Alina?" Come in. Mom's voice rang out like bells. She stepped forward, taking the girl's hand in both of hers. "We're so happy you're finally here." "Thank you, Mrs. Patel." "I'm honored," Alina said, her voice soft, almost rehearsed. She turned to me, and I offered a small nod. "Hey, I'm Raj," I said, keeping my tone casual. "Nice to meet you, Raj, right?" "I've heard so much about you," she replied, eyes flicking briefly toward my phone lying on the table, then quickly away. Something in that movement triggered a tiny spark of caution in my chest. Mom clapped her hands together. Sit. Dinner's almost ready." I watched as she carefully placed her bag on the couch and sat, straight-backed and immaculate. My father immediately launched into questions about her studies and hobbies, and she answered smoothly, never hesitating. Everyone laughed at her jokes. I laughed too, but a small voice in my head whispered, "Why is she so perfect? Too perfect." "So, Alina, what's your favorite subject?" Dad asked. "Literature," she said, eyes bright, but then glanced down at her phone lying in her lap. Her fingers hovered just above it, twitching. I caught the movement. "Literature. Huh, that's great. You must have read a lot," I said casually, leaning against the doorway. "Yes," she said, smiling, but her tone was clipped. "Almost offensive." I smiled back, trying to sound friendly. "Ever try writing your own stories?" She laughed softly, the sound melodic but rehearsed. "Sometimes. Nothing serious." Her eyes darted toward the hallway, then back. I frowned slightly. That nervous glance wasn't for no reason. My sister Anya plopped down beside her. "You'll love our city. Raj drags everyone into bookstores every weekend. Right, brother?" "Sometimes," I muttered, forcing a grin. I watched Alina nod, leaning slightly toward my sister. But her attention flicked constantly elsewhere, her phone, the windows, the clock. My gut tightened. "Raj, you've got to tell me all the best bookstores," Alina said sweetly, leaning forward. "I've been looking for some good spots." I hesitated. "Sure, there's one downtown," I stopped, realizing how icily she could be fishing for information. Her smile didn't falter, though. Not for a second. Mom's voice interrupted. "Dinner's ready. Everyone to the table." As we walked into the dining room, I tried to shake off the nagging feeling. Her charm was disarming, and my family's approval made me feel like the skeptic. But every time she reached for her phone under the table, my instincts pricked. Something was off. "So, Alina, what do you like to eat?" Dad asked, plating food, everything. "I'm easy," she said, flashing that perfect smile again. She placed her phone face down quietly beside her plate. I noticed. Just in case, I thought, swallowing a bit too hard. During dinner, I kept catching those small movements, the hidden glance at her wrist, the slight tension when she laughed too quickly, the way she shifted every time someone mentioned family trips. My parents gushed over her every word. I said little, letting the conversations flow. But inside, I was analyzing. Later, when she excused herself to the restroom, I whispered to my sister, "Did you notice how nervous she keeps looking at her phone?" Anya waved it off. "She's just shy. Don't overthink, Raj." I wanted to argue, to tell her my instincts rarely failed, but I didn't, not yet. I sat back, smiling at her when she returned. But my mind kept running through that glance, that tiny, fleeting, nervous flicker. Something's not right, I thought. And I knew, deep down, this was only the beginning. I was helping Alina unpack her suitcase in the guest room when I noticed her phone light up on the bedside table. A message preview flashed across the screen before she snatched it away so quickly I almost didn't catch it. My chest tightened. "Everything okay?" I asked casually, trying not to let my voice betray my nerves. She smiled too quickly. "Yes, just a work thing." I raised an eyebrow. "At this hour?" She laughed softly, a little too high-pitched. "You worry too much, Raj." She picked up a sweater from the suitcase, avoiding my gaze. My stomach churned. Something didn't feel right. Who was that message from? I asked, leaning against the doorframe. Alina froze, hands gripping the sweater tightly. Just a friend. Friend, I repeated. You're messaging a friend at midnight? She forced a laugh. Some friends live in different time zones. Is that so weird? I bit my lip, staring at her. Maybe not. Curious, that's all. My mind was spinning. I had caught a glimpse of a name, Adrian. My gut screamed danger. She shrugged, putting the sweater away. You're imagining things, really, I swallowed. Maybe you're hiding something. My voice was low, almost threatening, though I tried to keep it calm. Alina's eyes narrowed, just for a second. Then she smiled again. Raj, you're being dramatic. There's nothing to hide. I clenched my fists inside my pockets. Nothing to hide? Then why the panic when the message appeared? Okay, I said finally, stepping back. I'll let it go. For now? She tilted her head. For now? Her smile was sharp, teasing. I hesitated. I don't like surprises like that. My voice softened. I thought we were supposed to be honest with each other while you're staying here. Alina's laughter tinkled like wind chimes. You're serious about honesty, aren't you? Charming. I ignored the sarcasm, my mind racing. I watched her move around the room, rearranging her things, carefully checking over her shoulder, her fingers brushing her phone with every turn. Each flicker of attention sent my anxiety higher. Later, in the living room, Mom was fussing over cups of tea. Alina, try this one. It's your favorite flavor, isn't it? Perfect, Alina said, smiling. She took a sip, but her eyes constantly darted toward the hallway where my bedroom was. My heart thumped. Raj, are you okay? Anya asked, noticing me frown. I'm fine, I muttered, forcing a grin. Just thinking about something. I found my attention drifting back to Alina. I caught her sliding her phone under the cushion of the sofa. Her movements deliberate but almost too careful. Why hide a phone like that if it's nothing? My gut screamed betrayal. She seems complicated, I whispered under my breath. Anya laughed softly. Don't scare yourself, Raj. She's just a new guest. Give her a chance. I will, I said, though the knot in my chest didn't loosen. I felt like I was watching a performance I couldn't stop, a play where everyone else believed the script except me. Later that night, found myself outside her door, pretending to check on something. My heart raced as I imagined her sending more messages, talking to someone behind my back, someone I hadn't even met yet. Raj, why are you standing there? She asked, voice soft but alert. I jumped slightly, just. Checking the hallway lights, Alina's eyes twinkled, but there was caution there too. You worry too much. Really. Wanted to tell my parents, to warn them, but I lacked proof. My mind spun in circles. Am I paranoid? Is she really hiding something? Or am I letting my imagination run wild? I retreated to my room, heart still pounding, and stared at the ceiling. I couldn't stop thinking about Adrian, about the fleeting glimpse of the message. Every instinct screamed at me. Alina was hiding more than she let on, and I wasn't about to ignore it. Tonight, I decided I would watch carefully. I found Alina in the kitchen, rearranging glasses on the counter. Her smile looked effortless, but something in the way she avoided my eyes made my stomach twist. Hey, said, leaning against the doorframe. You finished unpacking? Yes, she replied smoothly. Just putting things in order. I noticed a receipt sticking out from her wallet, partially visible. Where's this from? I don't think we have a store like that nearby. Lena's eyes flicked down at the wallet, then back to me. Oh, I ran a quick errand earlier. Nothing important. Errand. At this hour? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She shrugged, smiling, but it didn't reach her eyes. Sometimes I like to walk. Clears my mind. I nodded slowly, but my gut twisted. Every answer seemed rehearsed, too neat. I decided to push further. Alina. About the messages last night, my voice dropped. You're still in contact with Adrian, aren't you? Her eyes widened, but only slightly. Adrian. She tilted her head innocently. Raj, you're imagining things. I told you he's just a friend. Friend? I repeated, stepping closer. A friend you hide messages from me about? She laughed softly, a tinkling sound that made my blood boil. Hiding, really, Raj? I didn't hide them. You just saw a glimpse. You're overthinking again. I clenched my fists inside my pockets. Am I overthinking? Or are you lying to me? Alina tilted her head, examining me like I was some puzzle she was enjoying. Raj, you don't trust me? I can't help that. Maybe your family has spoiled you into believing everyone is honest. Her words stung, and for a moment I felt paralyzed. But the unease in my chest refused to let me back down. I don't need your sarcasm. Just be honest. I am honest. Her tone was soft, almost too soft. You're the one who's reading too much into little things. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. Little things. Alina, last night I saw Raj, she interrupted, her smile sharp now, though her voice stayed calm. Enough. Stop accusing me. I'm staying here because your family welcomed me, not because I'm part of some game you're playing in your head. I froze for a second. Her words were calculated, cutting, but she kept them wrapped in civility. I wanted to argue, to shout, but I swallowed my frustration. Fine, I said quietly. I'll let it go. For now. Her eyes sparkled with a mix of amusement and something darker. Thank you. I appreciate that. Later, my parents came in, chattering about her charm. Alina, you're a delight. We couldn't have asked for a better guest, Mom said. Yes, you're amazing, my sister, Anya added. I forced a smile, but inside, I felt more isolated than ever. It's nice having you here, I said, but my words felt hollow. Alina nodded politely. I feel the same. During dinner, I noticed her deflecting questions, glancing at her phone briefly, then smiling as if nothing had happened. Every time my family praised her, a knot tightened in my stomach. They're blind. Completely blind. Afterward, I found her in the living room, pretending to read a book. I sat across from her. Alina, can I ask you something? Of course, she said sweetly. Why do you hide things from me? From everyone? Her eyes narrowed slightly, then softened. I'm not hiding. I'd like to keep some things private. Doesn't mean I'm dishonest. I shook my head, frustration boiling over. This isn't just privacy. It's secrecy. And you know it. Alina leaned back, tilting her head, a smirk tugging at her lips. Raj, maybe it's your imagination. Or maybe you're just trying to find cracks in my perfect image. Isn't that what you want? To see flaws? I stared at her, my chest tightening. Perfect image. That's exactly what's wrong. My family's laughter echoed from the hallway, oblivious to the tension. My anger, jealousy, and helplessness tangled together. I realized then that if I wanted the truth to come out, I couldn't rely on anyone else noticing. I had to plan carefully. Alina's charm masked her deceit perfectly, and I felt trapped, forced to watch while everyone around me praised her. I clenched my jaw. This isn't over. I caught her off guard the next afternoon. Alina was arranging flowers in the living room, all smiles, but her phone buzzed constantly in her bag. My hand hovered over it for a moment before I grabbed it. Raj, what are you? Her voice squeaked. I didn't answer. I swiped, scrolling quickly, screenshots already capturing every chat, every hidden message. There it was Adrian, calling her his always planning meetups. Leaving digital breadcrumbs she thought I wouldn't see. Alina froze. You shouldn't be touching my phone. Shouldn't I? I said, voice low but firm. Why hide these messages if there's nothing to hide? Her lips curved into a smirk. Raj, you really think you understand people? Maybe you're just paranoid. Paranoid? I laughed bitterly, holding the phone between us. Look at this. Look at your texts. You lied. All of it. Her eyes narrowed. I don't know what you mean. I shoved the screenshots toward her. Don't play dumb, Adrian. Midnight messages. Plans you tried to hide from everyone here. Don't act innocent. She stepped back, eyes darting around, then finally met my gaze. Raj, it's not what it looks like. Not what it looks like? I echoed. I watched you hide your phone, saw the glances, the lies you tell to everyone. Even my family believes you. Do you enjoy fooling people? Alina laughed, nervously at first, then sharper. Fooling? You're making this sound like some crime. I'm allowed to have friends, Raj. You're overreacting. Friends don't call you there always and make secret plans. My voice cracked, anger mingling with hurt. Do you know how it feels to watch someone you trusted manipulate everyone around you? To watch my parents praise you while you're lying? Her expression faltered for a second. Then she straightened, regaining composure. Raj, calm down. You're blowing this out of proportion. Maybe your family don't? I snapped, pointing toward the hallway. Don't drag them into this. They didn't see what I saw. They didn't notice the deception. But I did. And I won't stay silent. Footsteps sounded behind her. My parents had entered, their faces bright with curiosity. What's going on? Mom asked, eyes flicking between us. Raj, what's wrong? Anya whispered. I held up the phone, showing them the messages. Look, she's been lying. Hiding messages from another Manadrian. Plans, texts, all of it. Lena's mouth opened, stammering. I can explain. Dad's face went pale. Alina, is this true? She turned to him, still trying to smile, but it faltered. It's complicated. You don't understand. Complicated, I shouted, voice raw. You're manipulating all of us. You lied, you hid things, and you've been playing a role this whole time? Mom gasped, clutching her chest. I can't believe it. Yanya's eyes welled up. How could you do this? Alina's eyes flicked to mine, pleading. Raj, I didn't mean to hurt anyone. Please, don't. Don't. I barked. You've hurt everyone here. And you thought we wouldn't see? Thought I wouldn't see? My chest ached with betrayal, each word heavy. She opened her mouth again, but I raised a hand. Save it. I've already seen enough. And I'm not letting you twist the truth now. The room was silent, except for the quiet hum of the air conditioner. My parents stared at her, shocked, disappointment etched into every line of their faces. Alina's smirk disappeared. She looked vulnerable now, but it was too late. I felt a cold satisfaction, tempered by pain. This wasn't just about exposing her, it was about reclaiming the control she'd tried to steal. I took a deep breath, heart pounding, voice steady. This ends now. You lied, you manipulated, and you betrayed all of us. But I won't let you ruin anyone here again. Her eyes filled with fear for the first time. Raj, please. I said it ends now, I repeated firmly. And for the first time since she arrived, I felt the weight of betrayal shift. I was no longer just reacting. I was taking charge. I spent the morning planning. Every detail of Alina's deceit was laid out in my mind. The messages, the hidden calls, the lies she'd told my family. I couldn't let her continue manipulating everyone, and I had to be precise. Raj. Mom called from the kitchen. Are you ready for lunch? Almost, I said, keeping my voice steady. I wasn't going to let her presence rattle me. Not anymore. Alina wandered into the room, smiling like nothing had happened. What's the plan for today? She asked, tilting her head. I leaned casually against the wall. Actually, I have a call I need to make. Can you wait outside? Her eyes flicked at me, suspicious. A call. Yes, just a quick one. I grabbed her phone from the counter where she had carelessly left it. I need this. Don't touch it. Her lips pressed into a thin line. Raj, you're being dramatic again. I ignored her. Dialing quickly, I used the last number she had contacted Adrian. I could almost feel her panic before he even answered. Hello? His voice was casual, unaware. Adrian, I said, calm, collected. You've been messaging Alina a lot. Midnight calls, secret plans. You know everything she's hiding from my family? There was a pause. I heard the click of realization. Wait, Raj. How I know, I interrupted, voice sharp, and I want you to know that her games are over. She can't hide anything anymore. Lena froze, eyes wide, hand trembling. Raj, you can't silence, I said firmly. This is between you and me. She's lost control, and I'm making sure she can't manipulate anyone else. The line went dead. I turned toward Alina, who was shaking, her perfect composure crumbling. You tricked me, she whispered. I exposed the truth, I said simply. For everyone to see. You lied, you deceived, and you thought no one noticed. But I did. Her lips quivered. Raj, please. It wasn't supposed to be like this. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I repeated, you built a world of lies. I just brought reality to it. Mom entered, carrying a tray of drinks. Raj, is everything okay? I held up the phone. Alina has been hiding messages and calls from another man. Her deception is complete, and she tried to manipulate all of us. Mom gasped, dropping the tray. Oh my God. Inya's eyes widened. All this time? She fooled us? Alina backed away, trembling. Raj, I can explain no explanations, I said firmly. The evidence is right here. Screenshots, hidden chats, everything. I pressed the phone toward my parents. Dad shook his head in disbelief. I can't believe this. We trusted you, Alina. She looked at him, panic in her eyes. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. You already did, I said. And now you can't undo it. You let everyone see the truth, your own lies. Alina sank onto the couch, her hands over her face. I watched, my chest heavy but firm. Justice didn't always feel clean, but this felt necessary. Mom stepped forward, voice trembling. Raj, thank you for exposing this. I should have listened to you earlier. I nodded, feeling a strange mix of satisfaction and sorrow. I didn't want it to come to this. But sometimes, truth needs a push. Lena lifted her head, eyes red and watery. Raj, I'm sorry. Please, don't hate me. I don't hate you, I said quietly. I just won't let you manipulate anyone again. She stared at me, realizing the depth of her isolation. Her perfect image, the charm she wielded like a weapon, had shattered. I turned to my family. We'll be fine. Just don't let anyone fool you like that again. Mom nodded, tears in her eyes. We won't. Thank you, Raj. For the first time in days, I felt a calm certainty. The chaos Alina created was ending, and I had taken control. But deep down, I knew this was only the beginning. The revenge wasn't about cruelty. It was about balance. About ensuring no one else fell for the same lies. And for the first time, I allowed myself a small, private smile, CHP.6, the morning after exposing Alina. The house felt lighter, almost peaceful. I watched my parents in the kitchen, pouring tea, their faces still pale but relieved. Raj, Mom said softly, placing a hand on mine. I don't know what we would have done without you. I smiled faintly. You wouldn't have had to do anything. You just needed to see the truth. Anya nodded, eyes bright. I trust your judgment now. I should have listened sooner. I shrugged. It's not too late. We all learned something. Meanwhile, Alina stayed in her room, the quiet, oppressive. I could hear faint sobs when I passed the hallway. I didn't gloat, though I felt the calm satisfaction of justice unfolding. Karma doesn't need me to force it. It moves on its own. Later, I went out to run errands and checked my phone. A message popped up from an unknown number. It was Adrian. I can't be involved with you anymore. Everything's gone. You lied too much. I almost laughed aloud. Alina's carefully constructed world was collapsing. Her charm, her lies, her manipulations, all crumbling without me touching anything further. Returning home, I found her on the balcony, staring at the street below. Phone clutched to her chest. Alina, I said softly. She didn't look at me. I didn't think this would happen, she whispered. You built it yourself, I replied, voice calm. Every lie, every secret, it was all on you. Tears streamed down her face. Raj, I never wanted to hurt anyone. I didn't know how to stop. You should have thought about that before deceiving everyone, I said gently. Now, you face the consequences. She looked up, eyes filled with vulnerability for the first time. Do you hate me? I paused. I didn't feel hate, not exactly. Disappointment, frustration, and pity. Yes. But hate? That would give her power? No, I feel relief. Relief that the truth is finally out, and relief that my family knows who you really are. She sank back into the chair, silent. I watched her, realizing that no words could repair the damage she'd done to my family, to herself, to her reputation. I spent the rest of the day with my family, rebuilding what had been shaken. We talked, laughed cautiously, shared stories. I could see their trust in me returning. Stronger than ever, Raj, Dad said. While I cleared the dishes, I always knew something felt off. You've got a sharp mind. I smiled quietly. Sometimes instincts are all we have, and we need to trust them. Mom reached over, squeezing my hand. You've protected us. More than you realize? Her words warmed me, and I allowed myself a moment to relax. The tension I'd carried for weeks was easing, replaced by a calm determination. I would always protect my family, Q, even if it meant standing alone against someone charming but deceitful. Later, I checked social media quietly. Friends of Alina's had started noticing inconsistencies, her messages to Adrian, her sudden coldness. Comments reflected confusion and subtle judgment. Even her colleagues were questioning her professionalism after whispers spread. I didn't need to intervene. Karma was moving on its own, and it was satisfying in a quiet, unobtrusive way. Walking past her room again, I heard her muttering apologies to herself. I stopped for a moment, letting the sound sink in. No one had to hear it. No one needed to confront her directly. The damage was irreversible, and the lesson was clear. Deceit has a cost. She glanced at me briefly when I walked past. Raj, No, I said calmly. Just live with the choices you made. Maybe one day, you'll understand the weight of honesty. I left her room and stepped outside onto the porch. The air was crisp, the sky tinged with the orange glow of evening. For the first time in weeks, I felt the tightness in my chest ease. My family was safe. The lies had been exposed. And Alina. She was learning her lesson the hardest way. As the sun dipped lower, I allowed myself a small, private smile. Justice hadn't required cruelty, only truth and patience. My anger had transformed into clarity, my heart slowly healing from the shock of betrayal. I turned back inside, ready to embrace my family fully, knowing we'd survive this together in that deceit. No matter how cleverly disguised, would always meet its reckoning. The morning felt unusually quiet. Alina's bags were packed, and the house finally breathed without the tension her presence had created. I watched her hesitate by the door. Raj, She started, voice small. I met her gaze steadily. You don't need to say anything. Her shoulders slumped. I understand now. I can't undo what I did. You don't need to understand, I said calmly. You just need to leave and reflect. Alina nodded, a trace of regret in her eyes. I never realized. The impact of my lies? I thought I could charm my way through everything. Look where it got you, I replied. My tone was firm, but not cruel. The truth always finds a way. She exhaled sharply. You're strong, Raj. Stronger than I ever imagined. I offered a small nod. Strength isn't about anger. It's about protecting what matters and learning from mistakes, yours and mine. Lena hesitated, then turned toward the door. Goodbye, Raj. And I hope you find peace. Goodbye, Alina, I said. She left quietly, the sound of the door clicking shut lingering in the hallway. I walked into the living room, where my family gathered around the breakfast table. Mom smiled faintly. It's finally over. Anya reached over, squeezing my hand. Thank you for protecting us, Raj. I know it wasn't easy. Dad nodded, pride shining in his eyes. You handled everything with wisdom. I'm glad I can trust your judgment. I sat down, the weight in my chest lifting slightly. It was painful, but necessary. I had to ensure no one else got hurt, and it taught me something important. Trust must be earned, not assumed. Mom placed a hand on my shoulder. You've grown through this, Raj. I see it in the way you carry yourself. I've learned that appearances can deceive, I said quietly. Charm can hide selfishness. And sometimes, We need to act when others are blind to the truth. Anya smiled softly. You've become our protector. I feel safe knowing you're watching out for us. I allowed myself a small, genuine smile. The relief of my family's trust returning warmed me in a way nothing else could. Later, went for a walk in the garden, breathing in the fresh morning air. The sunlight felt like a promise of new beginnings. I reflected on the past week's betrayal, confrontation, and the subtle lessons Alina's presence had left behind. I didn't feel anger anymore. It had transformed into clarity and cautious compassion. Some people can't change, and that's okay. But I could move forward, wiser and stronger, carrying the lessons without letting them define me. As I walked past the empty driveway, where Alina's car had been, I murmured to myself, goodbye doesn't mean hate. It means closure. And closure means freedom. Returning inside, I joined my family for lunch. Laughter filled the room again, lighter this time, tinged with relief and warmth. I felt an unspoken bond strengthening resilience born from shared challenges and honest confrontation. Mom glanced at me, her eyes soft. I hope you know, Raj, we trust you completely now. Always. I know, I said, voice steady, and I'll continue to protect that trust. But I also know it's a responsibility I must uphold carefully. Trust isn't given freely, and it shouldn't be broken easily. Dad chuckled softly. You've become someone even wiser than I expected. I'm proud of you, smiled, feeling the weight of the past finally ease. Alina's departure, while bittersweet, had left a lesson for all of us. Life was unpredictable. People weren't always what they seemed, and yet, through vigilance and integrity, one could emerge stronger. Sitting back, I watched my family laugh and share stories. For the first time in weeks, I felt calm, empowered, and prepared for whatever the future might bring. The past had tested me, but it hadn't broken me. I glanced at the door. Alina had left and whispered quietly, goodbye, lessons learned. Welcome, life ahead. And for the first time, I truly believed in new beginnings.